Looking at YouTube, assuming it will come in. Looking at YouTube, assuming it will come in.
Okay, hi. Excellent. Hi there to everybody. Welcome to our GreenFest chats. Yeah. And thank you to GreenFest for inviting us along here tonight. We were at GreenFest last year and really enjoyed it. And oh, got a little bit of feedback here. Our GreenFest chats. We've got a bit of a technical issue with the delay, sort of between us and the YouTube. Thank you to GreenFest for inviting us along here tonight. So what at GreenFest last year and really enjoyed it. And
I'm just sorry, I can't. Definitely no feedback here. So. Well, maybe I'll mute my microphone.
Yeah, that might work. Perfect. So. Okay, so I'm just going to introduce us. My name's Gordon Oliver, and I'm one of the committee members on West Berkshire Spokes.
I can't. Definitely no feedback here.
And I am. Oh, well, we'll have to press on. Apologies for the echo here. I'm joined tonight by Alan Langley. My name's Gordon Oliver.
Good evening, all. Also representing from Spokes.
We'll have to press on. Apologies. Sorry, bear with me 1 second. I'm just going to see if I can. Does that help? That's probably me then. Right. I think that's better. Right, here we go. So we are here today to talk to you about the Ealing Way, which is the brand new traffic-free route in West Berkshire, and the first section opened earlier this year between Hermitage and Hampstead Norreys. And we are going to talk to you a little bit about how that came about, and also about what will come next, what the next stages. So before we crack on with that, just a little bit about Spokes. We are a local voluntary cycling group. We've been going for nearly 18 years now, and we've got around about 150 members drawn from right way across West Berkshire. We do a whole wide range of activities, from social bike rides on Saturday mornings to providing skills training such as bikeability and sort of cycle maintenance skills. But perhaps the main thing that we do is actually campaigning and lobbying for better cycle facilities, and we do that by working closely with the district council. We actually administer the local cycle forum, and as part of that, we work with them to co-produce solutions. We have undertaken a massive cycle audit of the Newbury and Thatcham urban area to inform sort of their work, and also feasibility studies for individual routes such as the Ealing Way. And at the moment, we are just working with them on a local cycling and walking infrastructure plan. And finally, we are also working to secure funding for cycle facilities as well. One of our key projects at the moment is to upgrade the Kennet and Avon towpath, which forms part of National Cycle Network Route 4 and is in need of significant repair. And hopefully we should be starting work on the section to the east of Colthrop quite shortly. So you don't want to hear any more about that. You're here to hear about the Ealing Way. So just do a little bit of background as to what the opportunity is. Basically, this uses the disused railway line between Didcot and Newbury, and the goal is to create a traffic-free, accessible route right the way between Didcot and Newbury, which could be used by walkers, runners, cyclists, horse riders, and basically to try and connect all the villages along the line. As a traffic-free route, it's going to be ideal for school and commuting journeys, but predominantly for leisure trips. And as a traffic-free route, it's going to be an absolutely fantastic alternative to the B4009 or even the A34, which are both very busy main roads. The B4009 is quite busy at peak times, and it's quite narrow, so it's not a pleasant place to cycle. So this route should be much safer and greener and just nicer to use, whether you're walking, cycling, on horseback or whatever. And we really want to try and protect the heritage of the railway routes and transform it into a community asset as far as possible. And also, we're very conscious of the need to for conservation projects to try and integrate them wherever possible to make it a real green corridor. So just to summarise the challenge, the railway line actually closed down over 50 years ago and has naturally just decayed over time. The line itself has actually been sold off and is now in multiple ownerships. Some of the structures along the route, so you're talking bridges, embankments and cuttings, have either been removed or altered or have just sort of lack of maintenance. They're not as sound as they were. Some sections have actually been built on, so that could be individual properties or actually larger housing estates. And so you actually have lost some sections of the route. And of course, the line is severed by the M4 motorway just to the north of Hermitage. And inevitably, as nature has taken over, other species have moved in, and there are fantastically some protected species along the route, but that does present its own challenges. So Alan, please do chip in if I miss anything and get something wrong or whatever. So phase one is the section between Hampstead Norreys and Hermitage, and just to give you a little bit of potted history, we've been working on this for an awfully long time. And I think the initial feasibility studies we did were back in 2005 when we walked the route originally and had that I have a dream moment where you could see the real potential of this. I mean, don't forget that Sustrans started with the Bristol to Bath cycle route, and we could just see something just as good for this section here. Hermitage to Hampstead Norreys just leapt out as being suitable for the first phase, largely because the railway line was still very much intact and really wasn't, there weren't very many sections where it had been built on. So it was a relatively easy place to start. It took a while to sort of get traction on this, and it wasn't until I think 2011 that we had our first real stakeholder meeting about this, and from there it really started to snowball. We managed to get West Berkshire Council to actually recognise the importance of the disused railway line as a potential traffic-free route, and they integrated it into their the local plan back in 2012. Since then, we've engaged all sorts of different partners. Sustrans did some work on this to develop our proposals further. And West Berkshire Council got on board pretty quickly and were very supportive. And we managed to gain permission from a number of the key landowners, including Highways England. And it was really when Highways England sort of came on board that everything really started to come together. They actually had a pot of money which was expressly designed to improve connections for walking, cycling and horse riding, where their motorways were deemed to have severed communities and cause problems. So in the end, they rather than give us the money, they actually gave us a contractor who actually came on board and did the works for us, which was fantastic.
So it's worth noting, Gordon, I think Ealing Estates played a significant part. It is predominantly through their land, and they've been incredibly helpful. So thank you to them to help make it happen. As you say, I think Highways England as well got engaged on an application that was put in by West Berks Council, and that really snowballed from there. They then enabled the contractors to do a real detailed feasibility, costed it and took it all the way through to completion. But if it wasn't for that initial scoping and and setting up a working forum to get things moving for this first phase, it wouldn't have happened. And I think that's what we're trying to do. We're looking forward as well into phase 2, phase 3, because there's a great opportunity to connect even more. But I think Gordon will show you now what success it currently is on the Hampstead Norreys to Hermitage route already.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to give you a sort of little overview of some of the things that had to happen just to make this first section a reality. There were 3 sort of big bridges along the routes, which had to be made safe and brought up to standard so they could be adopted by the council for future maintenance purposes. We had a steering committee set up back in 2016, and there's an awful lot of work that Alan and others did engaging sort of landowners such as Ealing Estates, just to try and get them on board and bought into the project. And yeah, everything was progressing wonderfully, and we're about to start work, clearing the site and starting construction. We did an ecology survey, and then found dormice, which obviously is a protected species, so we had to make sure that they were properly protected before we started the works. So the site was actually cleared and construction started in earnest in 2019. And you can sort of see from the shots here that the construction is actually an unbound surface. It's still suitable for use all year round. It's a really hard, durable surface, but it's just a much more sympathetic treatment than if we were to go for an asphalt or a tarmac surface. So that was constructed 2019 and eventually opened earlier this year. And just to give you a flavour of what this looked like, we've got a little video coming up just to show you, in case you haven't seen it, but it's a fantastic facility.
So we've got a live stream coming in, someone saying what a great facility it is for walkers, cyclists and horse riders.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So you can see this is just starting from the Hampstead Norreys end and working our way down towards Hermitage. And there are several sections along the route where you can actually join or leave the route. It's not just to sort of get on at one end and leave at the other. There are various connections.
That was considered in detail as well, looking, because we work with the Local Access Forum and British Horse Society as well, to try and connect as much of the network as we could.
Yeah, and I think there are a few public rights of way that cross it as well at various points. You see just this section as we're coming up towards the M4, it actually drops down, runs alongside the B4009.
So the M4 connection, that took a long time to get the permission to get through from Highways England, because it is controlled highway land there, and just in front of you.
Absolutely. So that was phase 1. That just gives you a little flavour of all the sort of work and the timescales just to get that section complete. And I think, what was it, just under 3 kilometres, I think, that section. So it's
yes,
yeah, gives you an idea. So phase 2, what we'd ideally like to move on to now is to push the route southwards to Newbury. Clearly Newbury's a main attraction in terms of shops, employment. You've got all the secondary schools down here, so it'd be lovely just to connect it through. Again, we've done a lot of preliminary investigations, looking at all sorts of different routes. In this case, there are significant sections of the railway line that have actually been built on, and so we've had to come up with a number of alternative proposals, some of which actually involve dropping down to run alongside the B4009 as a possible option, if we can't get routes closer to the railway line. So just in terms of next steps, what we've asked West Berkshire Council to do is just appoint a consultant, somebody like Sustrans perhaps, to carry out a proper engineering feasibility study, look at what the work that we've done and just build upon that to come up with a preferred route option. And once we've got that sort of agreed, then hopefully we can do what we did last time and engage key partners through a steering group and start liaising with all the various stakeholders along the route, talk to the landowners, hopefully get them on board, and then start to do things like structural assessments of any embankments or cuttings or bridges along the way, and then start to draw up the outline designs, get a costings, and then look for possible funding sources. Anything I've missed off the list there?
No, I think it's a significant challenge, this section. I think, as Gordon said, there are multiple landowners. The route is quite disjointed, although not as bad as you would fear.
Yeah.
And that there are opportunities to open even sections of it to progress. But we're trying to be very mindful in what we're considering about the landowners there, and to minimise impact prior to us really engaging with them. Yeah.
So I've got a little video. We've done a Google Earth fly through just to sort of take you through this, so you can hopefully see what the route looks like and where it's been built upon and some of the other challenges along the route. So
we've also got a question here, Gordon, about where would we go along Long Lane. So the thinking is to go the opposite side to the houses. And that should be a benefit as well to the houses in Long Lane, because it will create a crossing either side of the housing area.
This is just starting in Newbury and working its way northwards. In some places you can clearly see where the railway line is. In other cases it's got lost in the field, or it has been built upon, and it just gives you a flavour of some of the difficulties that we will be facing. This is us just coming up towards Hermitage now.
Do have some other questions coming in, Gordon. So,
yep.
One is, how much did it cost? I think that's related to phase one.
I can't honestly remember, actually.
We don't know. Highways England came in, did the feasibility study, and took the project through to fruition. It won't have been an insignificant amount, but what we have got is a good quality bit of infrastructure for the future.
Yeah.
And another one, we've got who owns the route, phase one and phase two, and who is responsible for its upkeep, which is a good question. The phase one is Ealing Estates owned. There's a lease that's come across on a peppercorn rent to West Berkshire Council to be able to upgrade the route and use it. In terms of maintenance, it's now on the normal public right-of-way maintenance regime, but also if we any volunteers as well, there is a wildlife regeneration in there where we need to coppice and go through with a very mild program of works, which was part of the condition to the planning condition to convert the unused land, really, the old railway track, into the route you see.
Cool. So this is just sort of, we finish off by, we realise that there are significant challenges associated with phase 2. So if that stalls for whatever reason, then we can quite easily jump on phases 3 and 4, which are moving northwards through Compton and up towards Didcot. Again, we've done some initial feasibility work, and in some ways it's potentially easier than phase 2, just because virtue the fact that the railway line is still intact, with fewer sections that have been lost to development. And the nice thing is that once we get to Upton, we can actually link into the existing cycle route that Oxfordshire County Council has actually constructed, National Cycle Network Route 522 between Didcot and Upton. So yeah, that's kind of in the back pocket, and we can sort of maybe jump on that as and when needed. So
yeah, we've got someone asking, wish we connected to Compton first. So I think that the way we phased it, we've done the middle. The next phase we see as coming into Newbury is the more difficult, but it does have the larger population. It is more the commuter and school, so it has more economic and population benefits. Certainly to do the entire route would be fantastic, but I would see once we've got the momentum of the first phase 1 and 2, then phase 3 should come a lot easier.
yeah, hopefully.
It is also longer as well, so
Yes,
finances will make it harder.
yeah. So that's it really. If anybody wants to find out more about who we are and what we do, just visit us at our website, or talk to us on through social media. And yeah, very happy to reach out and talk to people. And if you want to get involved, if you want to join Spokes, if you want to be involved in any of our future projects such as the Ealing Way, then yeah, I'm very happy to discuss things and have people, the more the merrier really. So are there any more questions, or are we?
No, I think someone's just commented it'd be great for me to get to Milton Park, which is up in Didcot, if we could do phase 3.
Absolutely.
But yeah, no, I think as Gordon said, if anyone is looking or able to volunteer to help, please get in contact with us. There's plenty that can be done. We need to be structured in our approach to start with. So really, anyone particularly knowing about land law, engaging with the individuals that are affected, those skills, infrastructure skills, would be very, very welcome.
Cool. Oh, if that's it, then I think we're probably done. But yeah, more than happy if anybody wants to get in touch via the website, or email us at info@westberkshirespokes.org, then yeah, we'd love to hear from you. I think that's it. So I'll stop the live stream there and